Welcome back, everyone. Now, over the last year, you would have seen both the highs and the lows of hunting for Transformers here in my adopted home country of New Zealand. But over the last month, I was back in my home state, the great state of Florida, looking for Transformers to buy. Now, this was the first time I had been in America in 7 years, so that means it was the first time I had looked for Transformers in America in 7 years. You like my Bass Pro hat? This is my new most prized possession, by the way. The big moment has arrived. We are heading into our first American store in 7 years, and I've decided to go to Target first. I do like that they have the old, like, 2007 Transformers logo up there. That's pretty cool. Looking through these deluxes that were 15% off on clearance, we've got TF1 Optimus, Devastation Sideswipe here as well. They've got a lot of him. Now, I'm not sure if these guys were meant to be on clearance because they're pretty new, but we've got Smokescreen, and then right behind him, we've got Swerve. So I'm already seeing things I hadn't seen in New Zealand yet, as well as this Devastation B. I hadn't seen him yet either. Coming down to the Voyagers, you can see we've got Mixmaster. We've already got him, but the big boy here was Shockwave. Now, this is a figure I haven't seen really yet at all in New Zealand. He is a little bit pricey, 43 bucks for a Voyager. Do I want to spend that? Scoping out the leaders, nothing too crazy. We've got the reissue of Snarl, we've got Big Convoy, and then we've got the battle-damaged 86 Optimus with a big hole in him. And you know what? I'm on holiday. I'm here to spend money, so I decided I am going to pick up Shockwave today, make him my first American Transformers purchase. Decided to come over and have a quick look at the collectibles section. Now, this was not a thing the last time I was in America. Is there really an audience for an action figure of Coraline's dad? I like that this is marked as 1/3 scale Bumblebee head, so Bumblebee's head is actually 3 times that size. Hi, doggy. Alright guys, Target was a big success. I got Shockwave here. We all know Shockwave. Cashier was an old lady wearing latex gloves who was really mean, so come on, where's with the American hospitality? Going into Ross now. I hear they have some cheap Transformers, so let's see what we got. Ross dress for less? How about Ross Transformers for less, right? Walking into the toy section of Ross, it really makes you feel the spirit of America. A bunch of markdown toys that resellers have picked through to try to resell and make money on eBay. All they had for Transformers was this dancing Optimus. He wouldn't even dance when I pressed the button. Now, back in the day, I did used to pick up some Halo Mega Blocks from Ross. This 343 Guilty Spark certainly took me back. 22 bucks though, so I passed. Did have some NECA stuff here. We had this TMNT set, as well as this old man Harrison Ford figure. I wasn't interested in either. Unfortunately, guys, it's looking like Ross is going to be a bust after all the hype that I had for coming to this place. Didn't end up picking anything up here today. Burlington says prepare to be amazed, and the only thing that amazed me about this store was there were absolutely no Transformers whatsoever. You can see here it was mostly just a bunch of baby toys, and we're men here, we ain't babies. I think this was the closest thing they actually had to a Transformer. Someone stole these vapor inhalers and dumped the box in the toy section. I can understand because vapor inhalers are awesome. Just as I'm walking out of Burlington, I find the one Transformer. I remember when I was a young boy, I thought these fake monkeys in this tree outside of PetSmart were the coolest thing ever, and you know what? I still believe that now. Alright, so we're outside of Five Below now. I don't know if they sell Transformers, but they certainly sell a lot of cheap plastic junk, so that's a good sign. And right next to it is Marshall's. I also don't know if they sell Transformers either, but I know back in the day, when I was a wee boy in 2011, I got a really cheap Human Alliance barricade at Marshall's, so that's a good sign, so let's see what we can find. Yeah, as I suspected, there's not actually any Transformers at Five Below. It is mostly just little blind box things here, little tchotchkes. Perhaps I spoke too soon because we do have J Dominant here, that's what the ladies call me. This looks to be a KO of the Combiner Wars Brawl, so that's pretty cool. And then we've got a KO Starscream here. Hey, for $5, give him to a kid you don't like that much. And if you only want official Transformers merch, we've got these world's smallest Transformers here. This will probably be the size of deluxes in a couple years. Heading into Marshall's now, I know they used to sell Transformers back when I did live in America as a kid. Doesn't look like they do now, because as you have a look around, there's nothing that becomes a robot. We've got this car here, doesn't transform into a robot. Construction equipment that doesn't combine into a really big robot. We've got monkeys, but not monkeys that become robots. Didn't find anything in the way of Transformers, but I did get some new shoes at Marshall's, so Marshall's gets a thumbs up. Our first Florida outing, maybe it's been a little bit of a bust so far, but let's head into GameStop. Now, I actually used to hang out at this GameStop when I worked across the street at Walmart when I was younger. And if things don't work out in New Zealand, this might be where I'm working soon again. Now, GameStop didn't sell Transformers back in the day when I lived here, but they do now, and as you can see, we've got some pretty cool new stuff here. We've got the animated Ratchet. I am on the lookout for this figure. $30 US for a deluxe, though? Come on, man. We've got the reissue of Breakdown. Now, I remember this guy used to be hard to find. Prime Cliffjumper, I think that's the first time I've seen him around as well. Coming around to this side, we've got the Blockies Action Edition Prime Optimus, and then we've got the new leader class Astro Train. Unfortunately, you're too skinny, brah. Big Convoy, he ain't too skinny, and neither is Liege Maximo. He's quite a big, green, beefy boy right there. Taking a final look at the rest of the Transformers, we've got some Voyagers here, Amalgamus Prime, and Wreck-Gar. I can see here Wreck-Gar, 45 US dollars. I don't think I'd pay 45 New Zealand dollars. Always got to have a look at the Transformers games, and we've got Devastation here on the 360. The memories are flooding back as I approach the Walmart I used to work at as a young man. We've made it to the Transformers section. They certainly weren't this expensive when I worked here almost 10 years ago. Having a quick look through the deluxes here. Animated Ratchet, that's who we're after today. And you can see we've got Transformers Devastation, Bumblebee, and plenty of Windcharger. Now, I did pick him up a few months ago, as well as the retro-carded Outback. Still cool to see him, though. He's a cool figure. We've got Big Convoy down here, as well as Red Alert. I'm happy to see that Red Alert, not just a shelf warmer in New Zealand, he's shelf warming around the world. And his fellow shelf warmer buddy, Gamer Edition Ironhide's back there as well. This Megatron looks weirdly fat and green, and then I realized this is a retool of an old Hound figure. That's pretty cool. Don't worry, guys, if you were concerned about Red Alert selling out, they've got even more up here. Do you think Yoshi gets embarrassed when he poos out eggs in front of Mario? Sorry if this offends anyone, I just thought this was a funny thing. What the hell happened here? I'll always love you, Walmart, because I can buy corn chips and Transformers Animated Ratchet in the same store. So here we are on day 2 of our Florida toy hunts, and we're going to be going into Ollie's today. Now, this is another discount store, but even better than the other ones, they have a creepy old man as the mascot. That's cool. Immediately, we're off to a better start than yesterday because I can see here we've got Studio Series 102, Rise of the Beast Optimus. Now, he was $25. That seems a little bit pricey for an Ollie's type store. Not the biggest Rise of the Beast fan, but I did end up picking this guy up. He seems like a pretty cool figure. And if you prefer a classic beastie, we've got the reissue of Pterosaur here. Now, I do remember these guys really shelf warming at the warehouse in New Zealand. For $10, he's going to keep shelf warming. Now, I've seen this discussion online, but it is still pretty impressive in person just to see the pure glut of Marvel and Disney and Star Wars stuff at Ollie's that absolutely no one could ever possibly want. Like, who was this random Indiana Jones lady figure made for? Though, to be fair, what kid doesn't want a Hugh Grant action figure? Come on now. This is probably the last place though you can come and buy a 6-inch scale figure for $2.99. You can even buy these Black Panther toys for less than the cost of a beefy 5-layer burrito at Taco Bell. Fun prank idea. Change all of the clocks in your workplace to this clock right here. Getting back to the Transformers, we had Gamer Edition Skywarp. He was also $25, the same price as Optimus. I'm not the biggest fan of the Gamer Edition stuff, so I decided to pass. Kind of crazy seeing an Age of Extinction toy from 2014 on the shelf. We've got Drift here. I don't know where they would have found this, but I didn't want it. Keeping with the Rise of the Beast theme, we've got a boatload of the Core Class RCs here. These were only $5, but I just didn't need them. I'd just be taking up space in my suitcase. Slightly more tempting was the 86 Core Class Ironhide, but I ended up passing on him as well. So yeah, Ollie's was a big success. Picked up that Rise of the Beast Studio Series Prime, and I got a couple of little sensory type toys as gifts for my nephew. It was really weird seeing so many toys there just so cheap. I've never seen anything like that in New Zealand, and I guess they're not really worth it to anyone, but still, like, action figures for $1 and $2 is just really bizarre to me. Very cool store, so thank you. Love you, miss you, Ollie's. Back on the Transformers hunt at Burlington, and lucky for us, we've got a Ross located right next door. Now, we didn't have too much luck when we went to the other Burlington and Ross combo on the other side of town, but let's hope these ones are a little bit more fruitful for us. Alright, that Burlington was a complete bust. Didn't have any Transformers at all, but luckily, we're just a short walk away from Ross, where our hopes will reset. We've made it to the wonderful chaos of the Ross toy section, and unfortunately, it's not looking too good today. Now, there was some pretty cool stuff here, like this Sonic Flash crossover for $8. And for a different kind of furry, we had He-Man's trusty steed Battle Cat. Gotta be honest with you guys, I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised by the new He-Man movie. So even though they had Sonic and they had He-Man's, no Transformers, so I'm gonna have to call this trip a dud. This Burlington and Ross combo used to be a Walmart, by the way, and I remember when I was a little kid, me and my siblings were back here, like, rolling up and down this hill, and then a guy from Walmart yelled at us and told us to stop, so that's a fun story. In the same shopping center, there's a place called Second and Charles. Now, this is primarily a used media store, but I'm sure, as you fellas know, there was plenty of media for our beloved Transformers, like the Revenge of the Fallen game here on PlayStation 3. I am looking for this one on 360, but $15 for PS3 here. And over in the toy section, they have our new favorite action figure, Woman from Indiana Jones, as well as some blockies. They've got the Classic Class Dark of the Moon Bumblebee here. And as far as actual proper Transformers, just one here hiding behind R2-D2. It was the Thrilling 30 Dreadwing. While it's not toys, I did end up picking up volume 2 and 3 of the ongoing Transformers comic series. Another day, another Ollie's. Now this one doesn't have the old man on the building, but hey, I won't hold it against it. Plus, how can you be mad when they've got Transformers? Now, the first thing I see here that's a bit different is we didn't see the Laser Optimus Prime at the other Ollies. They do have the Rise of the Beast Optimus as well. Now, here's what we were looking for. Beast Wars Tigerhawk, only $30, so I did pick this one up today. They've also got the Beast Wars reissue Pterosaur, looking a little bit worse for wear coming off the card back there. Of course, you got the full wall of Marvel, Disney, Star Wars stuff nobody wants. Hey, wait a minute, this dude was $3 at the other Ollies. I think these core class RCs might make a good stocking stuffer. You could just give them to everyone you know. Hello, Optimus. Lucky for both you and me, there's also a Ross nearby that we can scour through. Now, things were looking a little bit grim in Ross until I look up and I see we've got some classic Bayverse goodness, my favorite right here. We've got the Revenge of the Fallen triple pack with the Fallen, Megatron, and Soundwave. Unfortunately, I do have 2 of these 3 figures, and Soundwave is the only one I don't have. I don't know how much I really want Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave. As much as I love my Bayverse, $60, a little bit too rich for my blood to get one figure that I don't have that isn't particularly good, so I left this one for someone else to find. Also, this little Alita one was the only other Transformer they had. Well, here we are, gang. It's Saturday afternoon. We're outside of the Oaks Mall. Now, all I've heard the last couple of years is how dead malls in America are. Let's go inside and find out for ourselves. I am actually surprised FYE is still open. I remember coming here as a kid and they sold lots of used games and DVDs, stuff like that. Now, they didn't have a ton in the way of Transformers, a decent amount of the Blockies Classic class like the Dark Moon Bumblebee and Jetwing Prime. As far as actual Transformers, a couple of really overpriced aerial bots, some more Blockies Classic class here, and then we had a Devastation Optimus on clearance for $17.91. Not Transformers related, but I remember as a kid it was really hard to find Godzilla merch. I was a huge Godzilla fan, so I would have gone crazy for this Godzilla section when I was little. Directly across from the food court, we've got GameStop here. Now, this is one of the 2 GameStops that's still open in the city I grew up in. First of all, let me apologize in advance. It was very cramped in this GameStop, so a little bit difficult to film in here, but you can see we've got the Breakdown reissue, along with Prime Cliffjumper hiding in the back there. Coming down a little bit, you can see we've got Animated Ratchet, and then Power Glide. He's a boy I've been after there. Kranix over here, he's kind of a weird dude. Now, we had picked up Shockwave at Target. First time seeing Skywarp in person with an Alpha Trion behind him. Coming down to the bottom to look at the big boys, we've got Razor Claw, we've got the skinny Astro Train, and then we've got Dinobot Snarl just in the back there. Did pick up Power Glide. Always happy to add a mini-bot to the collection. He's one of my favorites, so I'll take this as a win. Now, this isn't my usual type of Transformers hunting content, but I was just sitting down to eat my breakfast, and I checked TFW 2005, and I see someone has posted that Walmart has Legacy Motormaster on clearance for $3.34. So now, I wouldn't normally show something like this in the video, but I figured, hey, I got a great deal, so I'll go ahead and I'll order this one and I'll show you when he arrives. So yeah, this dude arrived a few days later. I was a little bit concerned they might cancel the order because a lot of people were ordering like 5 of them. I just got one, but I'm pretty happy that I got him for like $3, so you can't complain about that. Ended up taking a little trip down to Ocala. They had a couple of toy stores down there, and the first one is this place called Up in the Attic Toys. Looks a little bit familiar from Ollie's, doesn't it? We've got the Laser Prime here, as well as the Rise of the Beast Voyager Optimus. $23. I think I paid a little bit less than that for my Motormaster. We've got the Dead Ironhide and Prowl 2-pack here. They look pretty mangled in the box as well, so maybe it adds the dying motif. Special shout out here to Coronation Starscream, one of the all-time shelf warmer goats. Over in the glass cabinet, we had a Universe Silverbolt, as well as a recent figure, the G2 colored Grimlock, and around this side, Kingdom Megatron, as well as a Power the Prime's Grimlock. Thought about asking about this Optimal Optimus, but I'd have no idea how to tell if he's complete, so I didn't bother. And then we've also got a Legacy Magmatron, who I do already own. Now, that was all they had in the way of Transformers, so I didn't end up picking anything up at this store. But even though I didn't buy anything, I still really enjoyed looking through all the different genres of toys they had here. So if you're ever in the Ocala area, I do recommend checking out Up in the Attic Toys. It gets my seal of approval. One more stop in Ocala. This was the Vintage Toy King. Shout out to the back of my dad's head. Now, they definitely had more Transformers here. I guess that's why he's the Toy King. They did keep all of the loose ones behind the counter here, so it's hard to film them. Definitely too many to name each and every one, but just have a look here. Pause the video if you want. See if there's anything you would have picked up. And then for the inbox Transformers, it was mostly stuff that was in stores until quite recently, so everything that was here that I want, I pretty much already had, except for Skybite. I'd probably pick him up if I saw him for a cheap enough price. I've said it before in this channel, but I'm very, very close to finally doing it, becoming the Godzilla 1998 collector. This was another store where even though I didn't pick up any Transformers, it was still really cool to look through and see everything they had. Like this wall of classic Toy Biz Marvel Legends. This packaging is just so incredibly nostalgic to me, but I can remember how hard these were to get out of these clamshells. That was brutal. Back up to Gainesville now. We're going to check out the Stomping Grounds Game Center and see if they have any Transformers games. Or if that doesn't work out, we can take some pole dancing lessons. And we got lucky because this is the last Bayverse game I needed for my Xbox 360 collection. Revenge of the Fallen, complete with the manual. In the glass cabinet, they did have the Cybertron games too, but those are a bit too rich for my blood at this point. Hit up Target on the way back to my hotel as I hadn't been here in a few days. It turned out to be a good decision because they had the new Commander class Onslaught finally out on the shelves. First time seeing this guy in person right here. Taking a look at the clearance section, and buried underneath all the skibbity toilet stuff, there was one singular Devastation Sideswipe. For $8.39, I definitely had to pick this guy up. So I'm back in the hotel now, and as you guys can see, I did end up picking up Onslaught. So when he's shelf warming for $140 everywhere in New Zealand, you guys can thank me because I paid like 175 New Zealand dollars for him converted. So he's probably going to be everywhere on sale there in 2 months. Our final Transformers stop of this trip, and this was a Walmart in a pretty rural area here. So as we look through the deluxes, there's nothing too interesting blast off at the back. They're mostly stuff that we've seen at other places already. The highlight for me was Cyberworld Scorponok on clearance for $21. I ended up picking up this guy as a gift for my nephews. How's it going, everyone? It feels like it's been a little while, but here I am on the last night of my 4 weeks in Florida. And on the table here at my hotel, I've got what I always like to have on a table: boxes that contain Transformers. So these were ones that I ordered while I was here. Now, I think a lot of these are ones that were previously on clearance at stores like Burlington and Ross. I didn't see them. I went to quite a few Burlington, Rosses, and Ollie's. I didn't see any of these guys, so I did order them from, I think, resellers on eBay and Amazon. But hey, they were still cheaper than normal Transformers, so I'm pretty happy with what I paid for them. Anyway, let's get these guys unboxed. Now, this isn't one that was on clearance here, but it never came to New Zealand, so I ordered this one off of Amazon. And this is the Legacy Beachcomber. Again, a figure that I never saw in New Zealand, but I do really like Beachcomber. And he's a fun mini bot. He comes with a parrot, so that's really cool. So I'm really happy to finally get him in my collection. This guy I picked up from eBay. Now, this is definitely one that was on clearance a lot here. This is Armada Wheeljack. Now, I did see him in New Zealand several times, but when I was seeing him, I didn't care at all about Armada. Now that I've been watching Armada, I've become the #1 Armada fan. I need to collect all of my favorite Armada guys in plastic. Now, Wheeljack isn't one of my favorite Armada guys, but hey, he's an Armada guy, and he was pretty cheap, so I can't really complain for what I paid for him. Hey, he's got his cool scratched out Autobots logo. That's pretty sick. And I've been spending my last week here at this place called the Depot Village, and you may have noticed this is what they're calling a green themed room. Now, I keep it rated G for my YouTube audience, but I think you guys can tell what they mean by green. And if you've noticed, I've been speaking kind of this soft, sultry voice while I've been doing this bit. It's actually 1 a.m. here, so I'm trying to be quiet because I don't want to disturb any potential other guests at this hotel here. But I just want to say to anyone who's made it this far in the video, well, first of all, I don't know how long this video is going to be, so if it's only 4 minutes in, your thanks is a little bit less. I appreciate that you've watched this far. I appreciate you've watched my little journey here. I didn't film quite as much as I wanted to, mostly because I was just taking in the moment. I was living in the moment, just taking the moment through my eyes and not a camera phone. That's what we gotta do, guys. We gotta live in the moment, all this AI and meta glasses, all this stuff, you know. And besides, there's only so many times you can show, you know, a different Walmart and say, here's the same Transformers we've seen 6 times already. So, you know, I don't want to waste you guys' time. Now, what do you guys think could be in this big box here? And would you look at that? That big box contains Studio Series 86 Galvatron and Studio Series 8 Blink. It was really loud opening that box, so I'm probably gonna get noise control called on me as it is 1 a.m. here. But yeah, both of these guys were really cheap. Obviously, they've been on clearance here, but they haven't been on clearance at least that cheap over in New Zealand. So I decided to pick both of them up. I don't have a Galvatron for my collection. I also don't have a Rise of the Beast Ape Link or Optimus Primo. So first time experiencing this mold. My first time with this mold as well. I know it's been reused many times, but yeah, glad to have both of those, and I'm glad I got both of them for a good price. And you can see here that my suitcase is already starting to fill up pretty good, so fitting all those guys in there might require some creative Tetris packaging, but we can always take things out of the box if we need to. How's it going, everyone? So as you can see now, I am back at our familiar dining room table. So I've been back in New Zealand for about a week now, just getting myself unpacked and reacclimated to a very different country. Now, as you can see here, I did end up taking some of these boys out of their boxes just to be able to fit all of them in my suitcase. And I figured I'd just give a little bit of a brief rundown of everything I bought while I was in America. Now, you would have already seen all of this in the video. So first we've got Tigerhawk, we've got Ape Link, we've got that really cheap Motormaster, We've got Rise of the Beast Optimus. Now, I did buy this little G1 kickback reissue at Ollie's. It was $10 and I had a 15% off coupon, so it was like $8.50 before tax. I do remember filming that, but I cannot find that footage, so unfortunately, you didn't get to see me go into another Ollie's, but I'm sure you had seen enough of that, so that's okay. And then we've got this big pile here. This was everything that stayed in their boxes, making the long journey. Just gonna do this real quick now. We've got Legacy Beachcomber, Studio Series 86 Shockwave, Armada Wheeljack, Devastation Sideswipe here. As you can see, he was on clearance for $8.39. Can't beat that. We got my boy right here. This is Power Glide. We can see that stack there is getting precarious. Let's see if I can stack it any higher. We got my favorite fat old man. This is Age of the Primes animated Ratchet. Studio Series 86 Galvatron. Now, this is my first time owning a G1 style Galvatron figure. I never had any other version of this mold. Finally, we've got the new Commander class Onslaught. So now all I have left is Swindle, my favorite yellow bastard, to complete Bruticus. So that'll be cool. Can we get it? Is it gonna balance? Yeah, good deal. Anyway, here is the family photo, so everything that I picked up while I was in Florida. And I just want to thank all you guys who joined me on this journey through the past back to my homeland. Stay tuned, there'll be more Transformers hunts and hopefully more different countries as well. So we'll be going all over the world looking for Transformers. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Appreciate you as always. Peace out. Bye.